Welcome back to Daybreak Extra on Trust Television. Right now, we'll take a look at what the front pages of the national dailies are saying. And as usual, we start with the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. We will be, of course, reviewing it as we take on each, bulletin. So the major story here says appeal court affirms election of Kaduna, Kebbi, Ogun, Delta, Ebonyi governors, and it sacks the Bauchi speaker. Now you find this major story on page 4. I mean, we've seen the aftermath of these situations, happening in various states where, in some cases, the elected or the person that's already the governor in that state is already being celebrated, and that person retained the seat, while in some cases the appeal courts are sacking other people. So there is a bit of that fear and dilemma, and the Supreme Court has a lot in store. Considering recently the Supreme Court judges, came out to say they are not enough. I mean, we need about 21, or I think 22 judges, but right now we're down to about 11. Even though the NJC are trying to, make sure that they get lawyers to judges to fill that space, but we're still on that, and right now it's looking like there's going to be more, cases for the Supreme Court, and we hope that they're able to fill in the position. That way, it would be a bit of less of workload for these people. And coming back to the people of Kaduna, Kebbi, Ogun, Delta, Ebonyi, I mean, the people are excited that at least the people that they voted for, their mandate is with them. But we saw situations of things happening in Kano and Zamfara, Plateau. Yes, so there is always that fear.
And Bauchi as well, the saga. But then there will always be a fear somewhere, but then the situation is being handled calmly.
Indeed.
No tension, and that's what...
No, there is tension.
Yeah, but not as much as, maybe people losing their lives or anything like that. So,
yeah, that's true. The security agents are working to find a level ground and make sure everyone is secure. And also, the people are being pushed, especially the parties involved. They're being, they keep telling them to make sure that they put their supporters on the leash. That way, there won't be a case of ruins of properties and also loss of life. Well, we'll have to see what would happen in the Supreme Court. Well, this is the major story of the Daily Trust Saturday. Below there, we see 35 days to deadline. Stakeholders doubt December handover date of Port Harcourt refineries. Okay. And the writers say refinery won't be ready in December. That's according to the worker. Road leading to site is deplorable state. Contractors battling to replace old facilities with modern tech. Plant has capacity of refining 60,000 barrels of crude oil per day. Now, this story is actually contradicting, what we heard from the minister saying that refineries would be ready or should be ready by December. And if there is one thing that, Nigerians keep holding on to is the fact that you keep prolonging this pain, and then we're hoping it would come and then there would be another shift. Because I remember at the earliest when the president made his inaugural speech, there were prediction of a refinery could be done, at least it could be completed by October. But then right now, there was a promise of December, and December it's close. But even at that, they're saying that a refinery, of course, won't be ready in December. This is according to Walker, and this is one of the most scariest thing ever. We keep pushing some things backward, and Nigerians are not even finding it funny at this point with a lot of all the sad things happening. It's really, really a sad situation going on, and I don't know how we can handle this. I don't know how these people could actually work towards this particular situation. We just hope that, of course, the necessary stakeholders take this seriously, because one thing I would say that I do not even know how it's going to work is the fact that they're saying contractors are battling to replace the old facilities to the modern tech. first of all, there are things that I would say learned from my grandfather, where he said you need to just sometimes throw the old things away. So modern things are things that will definitely work well, and then you now are not carrying these modern things, the old ones, to replace new ones. What if the modern ones were not really done in a way that could fix into the old ones? So even the contractors are battling, that will take us a step back. Wouldn't it have been better, Fatima, to have these refineries, to just start it from afresh, instead of trying to fix the old one and say they want to put it to the new one? Because right now, what the contractors are saying is that they're even battling with it. They don't even know how to make it work.
So, starting afresh is like saying building, what will I say, from the scratch, which is going to take a whole long time.
But battling to fix something, it's
but
just like,
you can see Dangote's refinery and how long it's still, like, the fixing and changing this and that is still ongoing, even though it's a new refinery.
We have 35 days to what the federal government promised by December. Do you think they can deliver?
They cannot meet up, because there are so many things that but it's the truth. Right, 35 days. It's just like barely a month plus. So we know that it's not going to be possible, and you can see the constructors are actually complaining about some of the equipment there that they need to fix, which maybe some of them needs to be imported.
Indeed, yes, of course. Most of them. I mean, we don't create the things here. But if there is anything that we would definitely need from here, maybe just the small notes and all that.
Exactly.
But most of the things would be imported, but these things puts fear, for every Nigerian, considering we have been seeing how silently, codedly, the fuel pump price have been increasing.
Yes, and nobody is actually saying anything.
I mean, there is this filling station nearby where I live, and they sell right now their pump is about it's 670. 670.
Actually, it's up to 700.
No, it's not yet. Please do not predict that kind of.
I'm not predicting, but I actually thought it's up to that. Trust me, because when dollar was like 1,000 plus a couple of weeks ago, I actually thought the fuel price is going to
it's been increased. We started with 620, and then it was 617 in some places, then 620 highest. But right now we've gotten to 670, which is the most scariest thing.
Nigerians are tired of complaining, Sumaya.
Exactly.
So whatever happens at the end of the day, you still have to leave.
I mean, no matter how much you want these people to be patient, also, you can't push that person to the extreme, and at this point it's getting that way. People are feeling suffocated. You're barely finding ways to eat due to the insecurities and the state of emergency on food. Also, there is that scarcity of food. There is that high increase, inflation in prices of food. And then right now, someone has to deal with even moving also from one place to another. It's really
and don't forget people that need to renew their rents as well. That's the most important, because I can see people running helter-skelter trying to
let's not forget
so everything has increased. Yes. Just like the price in everything, house rents are increasing.
House rent is not even funny. And Daily Trust did, or rather, should I say, sorry, Trust TV did a documentary, and it would be aired, tomorrow, about what is really
top of the roof or something like that.
Yes, roof. How difficult it is finding houses in Abuja, how expensive it has become for people to not even find a way to even get a house.
This actually brings me to the guy, the man that lost that they demolished his house. Was it yesterday? We're watching it together, I guess. 300 million house, and he's like, his family don't have a shelter. So you can imagine demolition when in this hard time, when someone has put their hard-earned money, without giving them maybe enough time to look for a place and stuff. So
exactly. Now, first of all, yes, in Nigeria, the first thing in the world, as a person, as a man, as a woman, the first thing you tell yourself is, if I should get my own house, build a house or purchase a house, then I know the heavy weight on my shoulder has been lifted.
Yes.
Now I know that
because
even
you
if
don't have to struggle for rent. So whatever you're making, you're going to save for something.
I know I have a roof at least. But right now, houses are really expensive, even in the nation's capital and other parts of Nigeria. Like the landlords are increasing money by the day, and you'll be wondering if also the inflation is affecting the building, because everything. They are feeding the building.
But they are making you buy a property because you want to make money. You're not just buying to keep, because the more you buy and the more it stays longer, the more it increases. It's appreciative,
Is it gold?
right? No.
It's really a sad situation. I mean, at the end of the day, we just need someone, a guide from the law that would not make the owner of the buildings also take advantage of people, because it's not funny anymore. There should be a balanced situation, and the federal government are the ones that do that. We see developing countries always been charged to do it. It's your house, but then you cannot get greedy and ask for more than the worth of your house, or more than the person can pay. So federal government needs to work on that. Of course,
I mean, so
people don't have peace of mind. No, I'm not. I'm saying don't get greedy.
Okay.
The first thing someone needs is that peace of mind to say, I have a roof over my head. So make sure, of course, you stay tuned to our Trust TV channel, because we'll bring you that documentary and you see how people are faring on that one. All right, moving on from that, we have my experience serving under 15 CPs in Kwara. Retired PPRO said. You find this on page 10. Now, this is one thing that I know that I would want to definitely read, to hear someone that retired from the police service saying this is what my experience is. Well, we're hoping it would be a good experience. That way it would be a good motivation to younger ones out there that want to, and embark in that journey. Below that, we see spousal and relationship killings. 21 wives, 7 husbands, 6 girlfriends killed in 2 years. And women are mostly the victims. You find this on page 8. Now, I don't want to come here and say something and then someone will be like, oh, she's supporting all the female, because no matter how much we talk about domestic violence, well, it's not all about you fighting for. You always fight for the weaker person. And even though, yes, there is 7 husbands and we push, it doesn't matter. A woman should not hit her husband. A husband should not hit the wife. There are many people who are silent in relationship like that. But whether we like it or not, statistics have always shown that women suffer more in marriages because they are the weaker people. When people are even talking, they will tell you that the bone of a man is entirely different. There is about 6 girlfriends been dead. The fear.
What do you mean they are the weaker people?
No. In terms of strength of fighting, that's what I'm saying. In terms of strength of fighting, you don't expect.
Fist?
Yes, fist.
Oh yeah. But some women actually beat men.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But the ratio of the percentage is not as high. Yes,
definitely.
That
and a woman can compete with a man, no matter how young a man is.
No, a woman. Do you know? Okay, say the man would be a kind of a more reserved person. Yes, most women that suffer from, physical abuse from women, they just have to be calm. They are more calm, reserved people who don't really who don't want problems, in their lives. So they would definitely just ignore, and then they will allow the woman hit them or avoid them. And sometimes the family members will be the one that are angry. But the fear of these things is it starts small and you get addicted to hitting people. And before you know it, it now leads to a point where there is loss of life, which is the most scariest thing. It is not okay for you to feel the best way to just pour your anger is by hitting someone. It doesn't make sense. If you're frustrated, then you walk away. I mean, it's one of the most oldest and most great method, that people use. Walk away, then calm down later, because one thing is the moment you react to something, then you definitely regret it. But if your reaction is walking away, then I bet you after an hour, 2 hours, the way you'll be viewing that thing will be entirely different from how you wanted to execute, your feelings before.
And so there's a saying that when you start something, it will be hard to stop. So when you start hitting a woman or you start hitting a man, and then any form of argument ensues, the next thing is you want to raise your hand. The person how angry because I've seen some parents saying they don't like it when their wives hit their children and stuff. So it starts from there. When you hit a child and it grows up with that, always you're slapping or
Yeah, a child field is the best way to just show my anger, by
But then they can
hitting
grow up
someone.
to be violent
Of
as
course.
well. So,
I mean, we see how toxicity is being transferred from one person to another. So that is a sad situation, and we definitely do not support the killings. Losing a life is the most hardest thing, and most of these people don't wake up and say, today I want to kill my wife or I want to kill my husband. It all just goes from a very bad decision of I want to hit this person, and maybe the last time I hit the person, he still behaved like this, so let me go harder. And before you know it, you push someone, hit someone, pick a knife, stab someone, and all that. Anger can lead us to many things. That's why you need to watch your anger. There are many ways you can even, it's better to even use verbal, to show your anger than for you to, but we don't even support verbal abuse. So please, let's find a way to curb our situation. Parents need to do more in order not to leave a toxic child, to release a toxic child into the society, because this are what leads to this. I mean, a lot of people dead because of anger management issue. A sad situation there. Now let's move away from there. At the bottom of the Daily Trust newspaper there, it says, I won't run for presidency. That's according to Wiki. You find this on page 23. Now, if there is one thing I've come to not believe about politicians, is them promising not to do some things, because I'm very sure there was a story about someone who said, I will not do something. And then it turned out that they did. Even the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, said he wouldn't run for the second time if people didn't want him. Something like that in that aspect. And he did 8 years. So
yeah,
never say never.
That was because he kept trying and wasn't getting through. So definitely, you sometimes get tired and you're like, okay, I'm not going to do this. But then when you get the support from people,
so this is why you just never say never.
Yeah, but we are still in 2023.
Exactly.
2027 is still far.
Exactly.
A lot can happen.
A lot can
so
happen.
Let's wait till then.
Indeed. All right, we have appeal court's judgment. Governor Sule dedicates his victory to people and woes upon it. Okay, you'll find this on page 7. I mean, we've been seeing reactions like that from different governors who won or who the appeal court favored. We have Mufti Mek visits Tinubu and says Nigeria can be best country in Africa. Well, thank you, Mufti Mek. You find this on page 4. I mean, this is one of the things we need to hear.
The fact that all the scholars keep coming to Nigeria. Indeed. And they're dressing in the attire.
Fatima, it is a fact. And Nigeria is the most popular,
uniting, yes,
popular African country out there. So it's something we should be proud of. And all we need truly is when we get great investors, foreign investors, to come into our country. Honestly, I foresee a great nation.
Definitely.
A really developed tourism attraction, country. We have a lot to show, and we just hope, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who we wanted before the election.
It doesn't really matter, actually.
Yes, right now,
everybody is the winner.
President Tinubu is the winner. So the main thing is Nigeria. Let's remove our sentiments and give support. If there is anything that you need to add or tell the government in order to hear, that's what the media is here for. We give that advice in order to make them
we create the avenue,
exactly.
And even the phone call conversations that we have, we pick topic issues like this and ask people.
And find it, because they can't do it alone. So we definitely need to do that with them, help them, and also pray for them, not, keep cursing our country. It wouldn't take us anywhere. All right, so below the headmaster there is about $1 trillion economy, banks to raise capital base. That's according to the CBN governor. You find this on page 27. On the entertainment segment there, it says, how Bin Fela's daughter once ruined my relationship. That's according to Yeni Kuti. You find this on page 12. I thought being a celebrity child is something that you will benefit from. Anyways, these are some of the stories on the Daily Trust newspaper today.
Okay, so let's quickly move to Tribune. 5 governors win at appeal courts. You can find that story on page 5. I won't run against Tinubu in 2027. You just read that, like Ricky said. You can find that story on page 8. And then below the mask there, you see security tightens in Kano over planned protest. Police warn troublemakers. Judgment threat to democracy. NEF. You can find that story on page 5. And then by the side, Tinubu wades into Ondo government crisis, meets stakeholders in Abuja. You can find that story on page 6. Osun Assembly, SAN locks horns over move to sack CJ. I beg your pardon. Lawmakers submit probe reports to government Adeleke. You can find that story on page 26. Kuka laments involvement of judges, priests in politics. Okay, Sumaya. Kuka laments involvement of judges and priests in politics.
So what is he saying? They shouldn't be, priests shouldn't be in politics?
Well, but when elections are happening, you know, you go to the priests, imams, you ask them to preach peace so that there will be peaceful elections and what have you. So they are already involved, whether you like it or not, because you go to them and you tell them to please preach peace.
Yeah, you go to them to get them to find a way. Honestly, people use monarchs, religion, clerics to get to sway people's opinion into who to vote and all that. So we know that happened. So I don't think that's something that would stop. And definitely we need
at the end of
these stakeholders to actually be involved and maintain peace
in some way or the other. You can see the Sultan going back and forth with former President Abdul Salam and the rest. You know, when the Niger crisis started, back and forth trying to preach peace and, you know, to see stability and stuff. So whether you like it or not, they are somehow in one way or the other involved in politics.
Yes,
so.
And they are expected to be there in order to be critics. That way they can put you know, the politicians in check and call them out whenever they are doing something wrong. I mean, that's
you can find that story on page 26 of the Tribune. Edo to build 169 rooms hotel, signs deal with Radisson Group. You can find that story on page 6. Nigerians grown as price of rice, beans, onions, tomatoes hits the roof. I mean, you can find that story on page 6. But then these are the basic
things that we eat.
Exactly. Things
onion,
that we
yes,
need.
Onions is expensive, but we do know the reason though. I mean, it's because the time that, you know, onions are, you know, when you would farm them are produced, it's, you don't do them during rainy season. I think it's dry season. So right now is the time that the farmers will have to start you know, seeding them and
you know, like you said, these are the major things that, you know, everyone actually eats and needs in the house. So if it's kind of high, you know, we just spoke about it. It's really difficult for the poor people or vulnerable people out there to actually access.
Even the middle class at this point, it's like the inflation has made middle class to even come down a bit. Right now it's like we don't have middle.
There's no middle again. No. Everybody is down.
It's really a sad situation there.
And that's it for the Tribune newspaper this morning.
All right, let's take a look at the Saturday Vanguard. From the top of the page there, it says, I can't run against Tinubu in 2017. Okay, now we get the clarification. It's against the president now. It says appeal court affirms election of 6 governors, Nasir Idris and Upasani of Kaduna, Umo Eno of Akwa Ibom, Francis Ogono of Ebonyi, Dakpo Abiodun of Ogun, and Sharif Oborivori of Delta Wayne. The major story here says INEC should stop dancing naked in the market, according to the appeal court. Sachs Bauchi speaker, and I don't know if appeal court used this exact word or they're just paraphrasing, but it is the most funniest, you know, description of what the message was to INEC there. But there's a lot of you know, castigating of how the INEC came about some situations and how a lot of situations were not called out by INEC until the appeal courts started doing that. Below that, we see Naira depreciation. CBN will introduce new FX laws and guidelines. That's according to Cardoso. Directs banks to increase capital base. CBN will further tighten money supply to curtail inflation. I mean, there's a lot of work for the CBN also in order to help the exchange rates and the forex market. So we can't wait to see how this would impact positively to the nation's currency. How politicians win elections in Nigeria. Kuko, Igodalo, Amadi, Itodo speak. You'll find this on page 5. Now, these are some of the stories on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. So majority of the newspapers, you know, are carrying almost the reverse of what is happening.
Stories,
so similar stories.
Okay, so let's quickly rush to the Guardian Saturday this morning. A day out with beggars. They're playing and tricks. Now that's I was reading somewhere and it actually caught my attention that they are with beggars. Their pains and their tricks. Some of them actually fake being disabled or one thing or the other just because they want favors. So I think this is going to be really interesting. You can pick the Guardian and check on page 5 and 4. Rashida by design, it's Rashida A. Walker. You break gender barriers by being consistent, professional, and having integrity.
That is true.
We always have this, column every day, every Saturday, a woman coming out to say, yes. So you can find that story on page 15 as well. I'm going to really take my time to read these two stories. They're going to be very, very interesting. Okay, so President Tinubu stakeholders agree on doctrine of necessity to oust Akeredolu. You can find that story on page 2. Lawyers petition NJC demand investigation over Kano Gover appeal judgment. You can find that story on page 3. Ganduje Palace Jonathan woos Wike to join APC. You can find that story on page 3. CBN considers raising commercial banks capitalization. You can find that story on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. And I think that's it for the newspaper this morning.
All right, yes, that's much we can take right now. Let's take a quick break because we cannot wait to hear from you. When we come back, it will be time to open the phone line and, of course, the WhatsApp messages in order to hear from you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
But in a situation where you find that they look like the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
but I have said that